Hello everyone, I'm Subbu. I'm a principal technology architect with Infosys. I lead the architecture services group of digital supply chain practice in Infosys. I have over 20 years of experience in building large scale supply chain transformation projects for our customers. Today, in this session, I'm going to talk about some of the supply chain solutions we are building for customers, leveraging Couchbase as our backbone. Okay. So how I'm structuring the session today is I want to talk about our Infosys live supply chain concept. Okay, because I want to make this as a foundation and explain the solution that we are building on top of that. And then I've taken two solution as an example to talk about today. So one is global inventory visibility, and the other one is order and shipment visibility. Then I'll quickly talk about why we chose Couchbase. Right. So, talking about Infosys live supply chain as a concept, right? So, uh, what we have seen over a period of time is supply chain was traditionally looked at more linear in nature, right? Connecting the different functions of supply chain, which transformed into more circular at some point where there are like multiple connections between your suppliers, partners. Some of your suppliers become your buyers and things like that, right? So that's how it transformed a bit, right? And recent days, right, how we see supply chain as like more connected and live in nature. Okay, so when we say live in nature, what we mean is it is like how supply chains can behave like a living being, right? So this is actually built on top of our live enterprise concept of Infosys, that is looking at every system, every applications like a living being, right? So that is like it can sense, reason, respond and evolve, right? So that's how the living beings work, and the same way like we are expecting the systems to do it, right? It's because the systems also behave the same way, right? They get data from different systems. It could be some of your ERPs, some of your in-house systems, it could be from third party or some of the external sources, right? And the systems react to that, right? How do you build it in such a way that like you leverage this data, you build a knowledge graph utilizing this data, right? And then make some decisions based on this, right? And over a period of time, like using AML technology, the system can evolve on its own. It can like kind of give more predictive and prescriptive recommendations. Especially this is more important in the supply chain solutions, right, where like you have multiple external systems impacting your supply chain behavior. It could be like as simple as maybe weather or some of your trucks stuck in some traffic and things like that, right? So with this, it's our foundation is actually this live supply chain that is sitting at the center, and we see like six characteristics that needs to be part of any live solution. Okay, that is being sentient, observable, connected in nature, right? Innovative, agile, and alive, right? So with these kind of the characteristics, this the it forms the core of the solution, right? With this foundation, what we have done is we have built some point of views around it, very much focused on supply chain. So for example, it could be control towers. So this is one of the uh, important ask that we see in the market recently, right? So the organization want to have an end-to-end visibility of their supply chain, right? So there are different systems involved, different parties involved in that. So you want to have a holistic view so that you can take some of the proactive decisions. So maybe there is a stuck truck or there is a particular purchase order not moving it, right? So how it could impact your end customer order, things like that, right? So that kind of visibility, right? And then what we are also looking at is this APIification of some of our core systems. So many of the systems are traditional system, monolith in nature, right? So we are kind of decomposing those and making those smaller microservices, right? So those kind of point of view, automation, AML based optimization, we see a significant changes happening in the optimization space actually, right? For example, it could be inventory optimization, order fulfillment optimization, right? So for example, you look at order fulfillment optimization, right? So it's not just that like you fulfill an order from a standard way, right? So you look at it dynamically where it is available, which is more cost effective, which can be delivered faster to the customer and things like that, right? So with this we are building some of those optimization solutions, right? So this is the second layer where you see like we have our point of views. Utilizing this, what we have done is we have built our offerings on top of that. So like our offerings are like, for example, supply chain as a service. So in this space, what we are doing is we are offering like OMS as a service, so that the customers, like, capex is completely reduced, you just subscribe to this service, you don't care about infrastructure or licensing, feature development, maintenance, all of that stuff, right? It's completely taken care. So like OMS as a service, WMS as a service, and things like that. Or a lot of cognitive solution that we are building in terms of demand forecasting, right? Some of the connected maintenance solution, which is very much like relevant in asset heavy industry, like where we can like real time monitor how the assets are performing, give some kind of proactive recommendations if it needs to go through some kind of maintenance cycle and things like that, right? And then we are also like working on a lot of experience based solution. How can we improve our internal or external user experience, right? So like these kind of solutions are being built, right? So what this is actually giving us like live at core, that is the center part, right? And then we actually look at it two ways, right? One is inside out way, where this core framework is helping us scale the solutions, right? And the outside in view is the experience part, right? How do we like look at the persona based approach and then bring in the solutions, right? So that is like makes it live by design, right? So that's how we look at the solution. So in this, we are building multiple solutions. I'm going to talk about two of those in the session today. So let me move on. So first thing, I'm going to talk about global inventory visibility. Okay, so in the recent times, right, especially during this pandemic, what we have seen is there is some uh, significant impact to the retail industry, like especially around like many of their stores were closed, some of their partners or franchisees, their operations were shut down. But the retailers, right, they didn't have a complete view of like where is their inventory, how much of inventory is stuck, like, right? So they didn't have that view of those, right, which would have helped them like react better in that case, right? Well, there was one challenge that okay, your stores are closed and the footfall is reduced, but actually there were opportunities as well, right? So for example, the e-com, like the sale like went multifold, right? So with that increase in sales, right, the organizations were trying to react to it faster, right? So they came up with like a lot of interesting features like curbside pickup and things like that, right, to minimize the multiple touch points for the consumer point of view, right? So while they were doing all of this stuff, like one consistent need that we heard from a lot of our customers is that having that global inventory visibility. Okay, because like there were like multiple places where the inventory is stored, right? So for example, like it is in your warehouses, in your store, in your franchisee store, or something is stuck at your partner place, right? So they want to have all of this visibility, right? So first thing is about having that visibility, okay, so that you can promise better to your customer, you can promise more accurate, right? What is available, when can you deliver, and things like that. And another change that we saw is while the online sales increased, right, and the retailers wanted to convert maximum of that, right? So one of that important parameter that drove conversion rate for e-commerce actually the ability to promise accurately in terms of the availability picture and also the delivery date, right? So if you look at it, like some few years back, maybe like if we only used to get a range, right, this item could be delivered in 5 to 7 days, things like that, right? That's not actually helping the customers. Now customers want to know exactly when it will be delivered, right? So that too, even in the PDP or the PLP page, product details or product list page itself, right, they want to know early so that they move to the next stages, right? So it used to be like, for example, in the checkout page you used to see it earlier, but now it's changing, it's moving towards the left, right? With this movement, right, you need a platform that can hold all of this inventory from different channels, that can connect these, right? And probably give a under 10 millisecond response time for these availability picture and the delivery date promise, right? So that is the kind of platform that is needed to support this internet scale volume, right? So traditionally, like your order management system was kind of catering to these kind of needs, but those are like monolith in nature, they cannot scale to these kind of volumes, like millions of hits in an hour, like those were not able to handle, right? So that is where we wanted to build a platform that an inventory platform that can get all of these source inventory data into this platform and offer some kind of microservices to all these consuming channels, whether it is .com or mobile app and things like that, right? So how we approached it, so we came up with this data architecture that can like get all of these inventory from different systems, right? It could be like from your stores, your warehouses, your supplier, right? Point of sale. So all of those inventory picture we got into this, we built some kind of a relationship to that. For example, a network based availability, right? So for example, what all can fulfill a New York region order, right? Well, so maybe a smaller set of nodes which includes DC and some close nearby stores, and then some maybe the nearby state stores and things like that, right? So we built that kind of data lake, right? And then we built multiple services, that is like, for example, checking availability in a particular store. For example, maybe it's a buy online pick up in store kind of order, right, where you want to check the inventory specifically in a store. Or maybe you want to extend that to, like, for example, DC to store transfer, right? So you want to transfer it so that the customer can pick it up maybe after 2 days or so, right? So those kind of services we built, and we have exposed this to like all the consuming channels. It could be your store systems, call centers, like website, right? All of those systems, right? With this kind of platform, right, what we have seen is there is a significant business benefits. For example, right, increase in sale, right? So the moment we have launched it for some of our customers, we saw an increase in sale. One is because of the better conversion. The other thing is you are actually able to range more to your .com. See, for example, earlier the retailers were not exposing their complete retail store inventory in .com because they are not confident about it, how accurate is it, right? So they don't want a disappointed customer, right? So now they are able to more confidently expose it, right? And with the delivery date promise, they are able to even convert more orders, right? And then the same thing can be used in store. So you can do a save a sale, like for example endless aisle, right? So customers walking in, but you help them take orders from another stores, for example, if the inventory is there, so they can pick it up or it can be shipped from there, right? And we are able to enable features like click and collect and things like that. Okay, so another feature that we have done for some of our customers is the fulfillment optimization, right? So once an order is received, right, how do you fulfill it in a most optimal way, considering their lead time, cost for fulfillment and things like that, right? So with all of this, there is a significant business benefit. So some of the numbers are here, like for example, this is all from experiences what we have seen in some of our implementations, right? So the sales increased by close to 7%. Then, like, we have seen significant increase in the depth and breadth in the online range, because you are exposing more retail inventory in this, right? And there is a significant reduction in delivery time, because you are now able to utilize your stores and fulfill from the stores. Otherwise it could have been shipped from a warehouse, which could have been much far from the consumer location, right? Another important factor is we have seen a significant reduction in short pick or early cancellations. Okay, that is because now you promise only based on the accurate inventory picture, and then you are able to immediately reserve it in these inventory platforms. So it can do a virtual reservation, so you don't like oversell any items, right? So with this, the early cancellation, which would have been mainly because of the back orders from the stores or fulfillment centers, right? So there is a significant reduction in this. So this is what we have built with this our inventory visibility platform, which is like built on top of Couchbase. Right. Now I'm going to talk about the next solution. It's called order and shipment visibility. Okay. So why did we need a solution like this? All right. So again, talking about a retail scenario. So consumers will purchase from different channels at your organization, right? So it could be like from stores, a call center, or from the website, right? Normally there are like not. There is no single view of these orders, right? Especially the for the cash and carry kind of orders in the stores, that doesn't normally come to the omni channel systems, right? So that means you are actually losing out on a visibility of a significant amount of orders in your enterprise, right? So that's because then with the lack of that visibility, then you'll not be able to get a good consumer behavior analytics and things like that, right? Or even if some customer is calling and probably trying to return an order that was like shopped at a store, you don't have any visibility for that, right? Or you are actually going through multiple systems to get those details, right? So these kind of details, or like we have seen like significant amount of blind returns being created, right? Because some customers walking into the return a product, but we are not able to look up in the systems, right? So then it becomes a blind return, which makes the refund and tracking extremely complex, right? uh, and there is a huge amount of historical orders, so you're not able to manage this, or there are like performance impacts due to the historical orders and things like that, right? So that's where like we found a need from many of our customers, and then we thought like maybe it's good to have a platform that can actually aggregate or have can provide a consolidated single view of the orders and shipments in a single platform. Okay, so again, we built this on Couchbase. Okay, so what we did is we built some data streaming layer to get all the orders from different systems, got the exact or the latest status of these orders. So we used to have a continuous stream of orders flowing into the system, right? Like every time there is a status change happening, or there's a cancellation, or there's a shipment being delivered, all of that flows into the system, right? So it's from all the channels, so your omni channel or ecom channel, stores, call center, all of those we got into this single platform. And then we built multiple services around it, so it's like the lookup services, right, some detail services, and we are also planning to expand this to, like, for example, like cancellation and other services also, right? Now with this, what's happening is like now our customers are like able to provide more features to the customer. For example, they are giving like a lot of self-service options in their .com channels. For example, where is my order, or even like looking at some of those create exchange order, right? Or they are able to build some kind of bots that can actually check the status, send some emails to the customers and things like that, right? This was not possible with your OMS systems, because like first of all, the number of calls were high, and the response times are not great. Also, it didn't have the visibility of the complete orders, right? So that is what now we are able to do with this platform. So now the thing is like you are able to search orders across your channels, right? You are able to have a single view of this. Now this is helping our customers to build some analytics around it also. You get a complete customer behavior analytics built, because you have the complete order set in a single place, right? So with this, some of the business benefit that what we have seen is, right, uh, the calls to the call center has significantly reduced. Okay, because like now with this, the customers have enabled self check in their like app or .com and things like that. Or even if there are calls, some of the calls we seeing that there is a close to 10 to 20% reduction in the call duration as well. Okay, because earlier, like when some customer is calling, they were looking up the details from different systems. Now all of those have been like simplified with this, right? And then another important benefit that you've seen is the blind returns have significantly reduced, because earlier the store or warehouse user used to create many of the returns as blind returns because they were not able to look up the orders. Right now, those have been simplified. Okay, so this is the two solution that I wanted to talk about in this session. Okay, now I will quickly cover about like why we chose Couchbase for this, right? So because there are so many products in the market, right? Uh, so a lot of core features that you all be aware, right, about the benefits of Couchbase. I will focus on some two key benefits that we have really found useful for our these two solutions, right? So first one is like for this order visibility. When I look at it, like we were looking at this cold and hot data set feature of this, right? So this actually helped us in minimizing the infra cost, right? So otherwise we would have planned for a significant amount of storage in live itself, in the or the hot storage, right? And then there is this, now we are able to use this long term archive storage also, which are much cheaper, and then still it gives us the ability to like kind of search across and get those responses, right? And then the search features, right, the Google, like the full text search, right? So this is actually a document DB, like because like we store that full JSON structure in this, so we are able to search across this document and then pull our orders like based on it. Could be a customer name, email, phone numbers, and things like that, right? So those were the significant benefit that we saw with Couchbase in this case. right? And looking at our inventory visibility, right? So while we were evaluating other options, right, what we were doing is we had a data layer, then we had built a separate caching layer on top of it, because this is the one that needs like under 10 millisecond response for like millions of hits in an hour, right? So when we are looking at that, but here this being a memory for their memory first architecture, like the caching is kind of inbuilt in that, right? So this reduced our effort and also the maintenance overhead, right? So that was a lot simplified. So that's a significant benefit that we have seen with this. Then obviously this low latency read and write, right, which is extremely critical for a platform like this, because that's actually the USP of a platform like this, right? The inventory visibility and kind of services that are going to be very aggressively used in your websites from the PDP, PLP pages. Right. So that's where we found it very useful, and the collaboration with Couchbase has helped us in building this faster and taking to the market. Okay. So with that, I'll wrap up this session. Thanks for joining this session. Looking forward to your feedback and comments. Thank you. Bye.